Time to do another video about Instagram discourse. That's right. While I am in my summer, hot boy summer over here, doing whatever the fuck I want and having a great time working on a super secret project you won't find out about until later, I am just doing a little bit of this kind of content from here and there. I've got podcast hosts I'm productively procrastinating against working with because I've got this big project and it's hard to schedule with people because I don't really know what my motivation levels will be to do this super big secret project day to day. And most days I'm super invested in doing it. And so while I'm working on that and also getting ready for the retreat that's coming up here in a month, I just want to put a video out. And so the last video that I put out kind of on this theme was the one on cultural appropriation. Remember that one? No, it wasn't. It was on polyamory. Now I'm doing the one on cultural appropriation.
TU is building a studio. I have officially cleared ground. I've been working on it for the last several months on and off, but am, as of this last week, beginning to get a lot more traction on the project because more money has come in. So thank you so much for those who have already contributed via donations for the TU studio. It's going to happen no matter what, but the question is when. If you want to help speed up the process, make things smoother sailing, and help me keep creating the kinds of content that you love, and even better, the kinds of content that is to come. There's a whole new era getting rolled out. If you want to help make it possible and usher it in smoother and faster, the best way to do that is to make a donation via the Zelle link up on the screen here. You see that QR code? Use that QR code. Once you have an account, that QR code should take you to where you can make the bank transfer with zero charge, which is really sweet, huh? Yeah, we love that. That's why we're using Zelle. Thank you so much for helping make this possible.
And so welcome to the video I'm doing on cultural appropriation. And obviously you see up here on the screen, I've got some black dudes who look kind of like elves, right? And they're all decked out in their Renaissance fair garb. And this music they're playing is this song is an absolute banger. I was brushing my teeth to it this morning and I was just like, yes, guys, this is awesome. And so I'm going to play it for you all. I don't think it'll get copyright struck, but the next couple songs I show you might get copyright struck. But I kind of want to just talk about cultural appropriation and how I'm so glad that I'm not a leftist influencer anymore like I was back, like, I don't know, 7 years ago. Because if I was, I'd have to do this whole like nuance thing where I go, oh, well, people take it too far and it can be hurtful and marginalized people can be. I'm just so glad that I can kind of, at this point in my development, kind of look at that and go, no, guys, it's not as complicated as you're making it, right? So like, for instance, when T1J talks about it, I think that he overcomplicates it. He did this video a long time ago. Should white people have dreadlocks? What the fuck is cultural appropriation? And he had a very simple and commonsensical, mainstreamable, pro-normie kind of take on it. And then, of course, that being 11 years ago, he had to come back during the peak of woke in 2019 and be all, hey, it's actually complicated, guys. I have some more sophisticated thoughts to do. And all he does in this is put a bunch of like nuance sauce on an issue that I think if you start putting that nuance sauce on your thing, you've already lost. Your side has already lost. You're wasting your time thing. I know that people will say, well, there's a big difference between cultural sharing and cultural appropriation. And I want to say, the people who want to draw that line in the sand are enforcing or trying to enforce a sort of cultural Jim Crow. It's un-American, it's stupid, and I think it's also despicable. If you understand basic professional managerial critique, then you'll see why I'm saying that. But if you don't know why I'm saying that and you're curious, well, like, let's get into it. All right. But let's start by just listening to the song that got me excited about this. Let's just go. Here we go. Yes. All right, so you get the idea. It's fantastic. I like it a lot. All right, I want to pull it up here on the screen so you all can see the comments. And I want to talk about it for a second. So most of the comments are overwhelmingly supportive, right? You got people coming in and saying all kinds of really fun stuff like basically band or like artist, group name suggestion memes. So it's like Wu-Tanged Klansmen, Young Rich Nobles, D&D unit. I like that one. The old edition. Lil Nazgul X. I think that might be the winner. Lil Nazgul X. 50 pence. That's really good. Earth, Wind, and Squire. Awesome. Young Nobles. Do-Rags and Dragons. DMX Caliber. Bone Thugs in Heraldry. Bards to Men. 3-6 Musketeers. Earth, Wind, and Friar. Martin Luther King Arthur. Game of Tyrones. A Tribe Called Side Quest. NWA, Noblemen with Attitudes. And here at the top, it is by far not the most liked, though it's getting the most replies, and so that's why it comes up at the top. This person said, culture vultures? Like Eminem, right? Thinking face. Culture vultures? Oh, kind of culture vulture. Now, I don't want to be mean to the person who said it. Jay Skrilla might have been joking, might have been just kind of playing. And also, to be fair, if you're into hip hop and you follow the commentariat on YouTube or podcasts, you may be pretty familiar already with like this. And the whole idea that you should judge music by skin color, or whether or not the person is a little genre bendy, and you might be, oh, is this cultural appropriation? Is this culture vultureism? It's popular. It's a script. It's a dumb script that people pick up and they run with it. But the communities, first of all, the communities that where people think that this is normal as like a kind of critique and like it's legitimate, they're niche. They're big, but they're niche. And I'd like to say, they're wrong. They're wrong to try to make their little hill to die on out of that, because it reifies a bunch of stuff that is really stupid. And I'll get into that in a second. Obviously, most people's attitude, though, is not like that. Most people's attitude is like saying NWA, Noblemen with Attitudes, that shit's funny, 34,000 likes, versus culture vultures like Eminem, right? And that person gets 202 likes. Talk about getting ratioed. Now, I'm not saying that's a sign of where the culture is at right now, because obviously this is like Renaissance Fair people memeing, right? And Renaissance Fair people are probably just more fun in general than the kinds of people who really do this sort of Oh, is this culture vultures? Okay, so with that said, my response to this person, I mean, I hadn't even had my coffee yet. No, wait a second. No. So I said I did this while I was brushing my teeth. I had already had my coffee, gone to jujitsu, come home, and was getting ready for my day when I heard this song. Okay. And so, yeah, I was already going when I wrote this, but I went off. I said, culture vulture is the favorite term of wannabe ethnic, identitarian, cultural gatekeepers. Disgusting. If you want to be a gatekeeping PMC hipster, you could at least get with the times and realize the cultural appropriation thing is so 2016. Your time has ended. Okay. I'm done with it, dude. Whether this person's joking or not, I just think it's important when you see it, respond. And I know a lot of people are going to like, oh, live and let live. And that's just that person's opinion. And nope, not when it comes to this one. You want to call something a cultural appropriation or talk about culture vultures? That's your opinion. I'll share my opinion and then I'm out. Absolutely ridiculous. And I know a bunch of dinks in their 30s who still kind of like do this thing like, oh, that's culture vulture, that's cultural appropriation. I know these are not the exact same thing, but they're very related. Culture vultures often being industry hacks or plants or maybe somewhat talented, but ultimately getting rich off of other people's culture. Like that's that idea of like, oh, Elvis, he wasn't that original. He's getting a lot of his ideas from other people. He's a culture vulture. Okay, yeah, but if that's the main thing you think that was going for him, if that's how overly simplistic you are, once again, I don't care. I don't think that this is smart. And just because you can find a bunch of essays in cultural studies today that will share your opinion doesn't mean that that opinion counts for much. And I think you have lost that argument. I think that you have lost that and that the whole world has turned against you, except for maybe, some people in your grad studies department, whatever. I don't know. What am I saying? Grad studies department? That's not a department. But in your, graduate cohort or whatever, maybe you can find some other people who will play this game. But it is a game. It's a game that belongs to the academic attention economy or activism fields. And where those fields all meet and become most reprehensible is where you get stuff like this. And so some of you might remember, I mean, I'm guessing a bunch of you probably remember this. This is a very famous clip. And I think some people try to act like it's not a thing, like that happens. And it's like, this is a very common kind of thing because you get people whose identities and careers are kind of based on this sort of lifestyle, a marginal victim status, and I'm going to tell you how to be activism. And so what I'm about to show you, if you haven't seen it, it's from, I believe, let's see, it says right there, it says 2016. This is from SFSU. So this is some California shit, but I went to Boise State. I knew people who would have done the exact same thing. Okay, so let's play it from the top. So it starts out with her asking her friend here, who's wearing a trench coat, red flag. Starts out with her asking him. I'm joking, by the way. If you wear trench coats, that's fine. I mean, whatever. He's got a scarf and a trench coat. And it starts with her asking her friend if he has any scissors, right? So she's saying that as she corners this white boy with dreadlocks, right? So let's keep it going.
You're saying that I can't have a hairstyle because of your culture? Why?
Because it's my culture. Do you know what box means?
Do you know it was in Egyptian culture? Are you Egyptian? Nah, bro, you're not.
Okay, first of all, I'm not saying that he's any less cringe than she is. She's the one who's trying to tell him how to live his life. That makes it a little bit worse. But this whole like he's throwing his arms around. He's been doing too many mushrooms. And, you know, but hey, bless his little heart. Okay. He's standing up for himself. Let's go.
Are you Egyptian?
No, but it doesn't matter.
Wait, where's Egypt? Tell me.
You know what, girl?
Where's Egypt?
Dude, girl, you have no right to tell me what I can not get. Huh?
I like how this black dude with the headphones was like, he saw like 1 second of this and he was like, no, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And then you see this guy with the trench coat's like, where you going, dude? You should stick around. You should have our back here.
Yo, girl, stop touching me right now.
Yo, girl, stop touching me right now.
Get off of me.
Yeah, so she's grabbing him, she's pushing him, she's asking her friend if he's got scissors. Yeah.
You put your hands on me, no more.
And then she's accusing him of putting his hands on her. And everybody who can see this video already knows what the truth was.
Makes some shit because of what the hair I have. That's no reason, yo. I don't need your disrespect. I don't need your disrespect.
Why are you filming this?
For everyone's safety.
Why are you filming this? Why do you think? I think that this is the moment where she's like, oh shit, my gaslighting, lying ways are being exposed. Yes, they're being exposed. And the whole internet saw it back then. And this is back in 2016. Let's remember, this is at the peak of the real, like, original Bernie moment, right? People were sick of left and right. People were excited for some kind of left populism to take off. And this moment, moments like this, defined the next 4 to 5 years of the rise of wokeness, right? Society was not super woke in 2014. It became super woke as a reaction to Bernie, as a radical liberal sort of takeover, this sort of like cultural hipster vanguard PMC takeover within or against the Bernie movement, right? And it was powerful. If you felt, you could like feel it in the air back then. This video coming out, like the fact that she never faced any penalties, at least not that I'm aware of. I've looked into it. I can't find that she actually faced any penalties for harassing this dude. And the culture in academia, especially in the softer sciences, was very like, ooh, we have to be on our tiptoes because there's a reckoning and we have to change. And that was happening at the exact same time that Bernie was saying, okay, let's just make it about everybody though. Okay, so this is going to be also around the same time that he takes that step back, basically bends the knee to those BLM activists who took the podium. These are those moments that kind of defined the next little era of wokeness and made it so that a lot of people like myself kind of looking around said, this is going nowhere. And in my case, I said, well, we should actually play along. We should go with it. We should kind of rise to the times, you know, cater to this kind of thing. And my attitude now is like, not only should we not do that, but also I don't even embrace the we anymore. It's like, I'm so over it. It's like, I see all these people who are doing this like, oh, well, the real left doesn't do this. And I'm just like, your lefter than thou thing isn't going to fix it, man. This is literally still a thing in Democratic Socialists of America and Party for Socialism and Liberation, PSL. You're not going to get away from it. Like, this is radical left, identitarian, sort of ethnic, Jim Crow policing cultural nonsense that you do run into if you try to get involved with activism. And if you have a bunch of cool people in your town, so your local chapter is not like this and you guys have no tolerance for this kind of thing, well, just wait till you go to the national chapter, or sorry, the national conference or whatever. Wait till your chapter goes to the national thing and you'll see really quickly that this is absolutely still a thing. And so long as that's a thing, when you're trying to say, well, the real left is like this and the real left would do this and the real left is like that, it's like, I don't care. You know, have fun with that conversation. That's a conversation that I was having back in 2019, 2020. I was still even thinking in reference to it in 2021 and 2022. But ever since I started this sort of post-left school of thought, you know, and course platform here at Theory Underground, my attitude's been like, no, it's not really worth it. Let's just go deeper. And so bringing it back here to the this comment that I made. I want to sort of dissect it and break it down, and then I'll say a thing about how their time really has ended. Right? Some people might think that's just my opinion. I don't think it's just my opinion. I do mean it both descriptively and prescriptively, even if this sort of mode was not over. I think it's important to say that it is over, just as a way of setting boundaries in one's own life so that you're not getting, I don't know, so you're not having to have relationships with people who are out here ultimately ostracizing you and themselves from basically everybody else in America, from like 95% of the population that would never be down with that shit, which is straight up how it is. But yeah, I said culture vulture is the favorite term of wannabe ethnic identitarian cultural gatekeepers. We can also just think of the falling professionals, the falling managers, the people who are either credentialed through academia but know that their horizon of possibilities is shrinking and so it's more competitive, or on the other hand, people who they didn't go to college but they're trying to ape that mode, and maybe because they think that it will actually help them in their career advancement, but probably more like because it just gives them a cheap sense of superiority, right? Or maybe because they're scared of the people that they are associating with. That's another big one. I know plenty of so-called allies who are really just like doormats for certain people. Not groups of people, but for certain people who exploit the function of representative for the supposed group. Anyway, so I said it's disgusting. And I said, if you want to be a gatekeeping PMC hipster, you could at least get with the times and realize the cultural appropriation thing is so 2016. Your time has ended. And I think that what really speaks to that, to the fact that their time really has ended, is just like, I'll use this one example because there's a lot come to mind. I've been doing a little bit of cultural anthropology of my own, looking into things. And one of the things that happened in the hardcore scene after I left was a bunch of different artists, and maybe this started with Attila, I'm not sure. They went into rap and hip hop, or they started blending genres. Ronnie Radke started doing it. A lot of the people that, if you're more on the progressive side of things, you might kind of pinch your nose and go, ooh, oh, Attila, oh, Falling in Reverse. And so maybe that doesn't really count as much to you because you don't like to have fun. But if that's true, that's fine. Most other people do want to have fun. And when people feel like, especially in today's, sort of moment, that the only real way that they can have any, sense of freedom or autonomy is to, do something different with their hair and mix clothing fashions in a way that they haven't seen anyone else doing. I do think that that's kind of superficial and it doesn't go far enough. But when people feel like that's going to be an important part of their mode of expression and their freedom, you better bet people are going to rebel when you start telling them that they can't do something. Right. And I want dreadlocks just to rebel. I'm not going to do it because I think the upkeep would be too much. And I don't think it would look good on me. But it's like just seeing that college student being like, oh, you can't do that. It instantly makes me go, shit, I want to do that. Fucking tell me not to do that. Watch me do it. I'm going to do it right now.
Stop it! Every time you say that, I'm just going to keep doing it.
I think that that's a popular thing, especially in the service industry, especially for blue collar people. And what I'm talking about is like the lower working class for the most part. The lower working class, the working class that probably didn't go to college or doesn't have much of a chance on that horizon. The only real freedom that you get having no time energy is the kinds of stuff you wear and listen to outside of work. So yeah, don't tell me not to, or I'm gonna. And the point is, or sort of the proof that that is taking off is just the success of Suicide Boys. You cannot see this video I'm about to show you here and think that they're doing anything but having fun and also sticking up a big finger to the people who are telling them that they can't do this. Okay, so this is probably where I get copyright struck, but I mean, this falls under fair use, and if you don't think this falls under fair use, then you don't know what fair use is, because this is educational, this is commentary, but yeah, as a sort of cultural anthropology thing, I want you to pay attention to this. I'm not saying you have to like hip hop, rap, hardcore, or whatever the kids are listening to these days. You should be listening to this a little bit more like, imagine that you were alternative, or you never really fit in much, and you just want to blow off some steam, and you want to have some fun, and you're looking for something crazy and different, and your whole life is just working some bullshit job, and you can't tell your boss what you really think, you can't tell your teachers what you really think, and you hear this is something you could go see, and you could be a part of it. I think you would want to. And look how many people want to. Here we go. Okay, this is the beginning of that video. Look at all those people. Look at all those people. And there's a pit. Do you see the pit? Do you see? There's a pit. There we go. There's a circle pit going on and people dancing around in it. Yeah, this is exactly because this is from the hardcore scene. The hardcore scene birthed this. And some people think that it's like one of the worst moments of the hardcore scene. One of the things that people really like about hardcore, some people really like about hardcore, is like punk was just like, it wasn't like appropriation of jazz or R&B or hip hop. It was its own thing, right? And so that it was like, unlike rock and roll, you'll get people like, I don't know if Ian McKay says this, but I think he actually did. If I remember right, the documentary, what is it called? I think it's called American Hardcore. When they're talking about the roots of hardcore punk in the 1970s, with bands like Minor Threat and Bad Brains, or is it Bad Religion? Or do both count? See, I don't know my hardcore history that well. I don't really listen to these bands. I don't listen to Black Flag. I respect what they did. I think it's fascinating, but I don't listen to these bands. But yeah, one of them was saying like, hey, one of the nice things about this is that it's not like culturally appropriating. And it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, but if you understand things structurally and dialectically and cybernetically, there is no separating punk from the other things going on in America at the time. It is always in contrast to everything else going on. All music is doing something mimetic, and you can't get away from it. And people who are trying to kind of set up these hard boundaries and walls and then kind of police them, like, oh, well, this is our people's stuff. And look, people with this skin color do this thing. And oh, I have a respect for the culture. And oh, now this person speaks for the culture. It's just, okay, man. Y'all have fun with that, but it's going to end, right? It's going to end. And you look, I just appropriated right there. Did I appropriate Southern people by saying y'all, or was I appropriating off of woke PMC bullshit by saying y'all? Well, in that case, it was the latter, because I was kind of like, y'all have fun with that. If I say that, I'm not talking to Southerners. I'm not mimicking Southerners. I'm laughing at the people who say y'all. Okay, so just and that's who I'm actually addressing, right? I would say you guys have fun with that to everyone else, but as soon as you're talking to this demographic, it's best to just y'all, kind of, okay, I'll use it. Anyway, let's play one more just to give you a sense for where Suicide Boys is at. They're blowing the fuck up. They're selling out giant arenas, and they're making great music, and they're doing stuff with guys like Germ, who does rap. But look at that, that's Knock Loose, dude. Doing stuff with Knock Loose. Doing stuff with Knock Loose, like that is so cool, yeah. It's a bop, guys. You might not like it, but they're having fun and everyone's coming out for it. They're selling out the fucking stadiums, okay? And it's not because their industry plants, like they just blew up. They come from the hardcore scene and they realize, you know what, we can do whatever we want. And they are doing whatever they want and they're having a lot of fun doing it. And I think that people at these kinds of concerts are the most open-minded people in the world. And they're like they're kind of like the 1990s kind of tolerant, just having fun, vibing kinds of people, as opposed to the 2016 trying to go to college and secure some PMC gig and say all the right things and listening to assholes like I'm trying to think of who's the asshole to call out here. Anthony Fantano. Yeah, I'm sorry, he's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. If your opinion is anything similar to his, then you probably just need to work on your life. Okay, so yeah, Fantano's one of my least favorite people when it comes to music. Almost everything about him is everything I hate about music today, in fact, or people who listen to too much music and have way too strong of opinions about it. For me, it's not about what I actually like and cultivating my taste. I mean, I know what I like and I like what I like unapologetically, but it is a lot more like cultural anthropology and trying to empathize with other people, trying to understand other kinds of fundamental mood dispositions, right? This is all kind of something that should make sense for anybody who's ever heard me talk about really professional managerial critique, alien anthropology, or the post-class fractured mass. If you've heard me talk about any of those things, then you should know exactly what I'm getting at. But anyway, this is winning. This is winning. These guys are winning, and Scrim has or had dreadlocks for years and years and years. And he had them at the exact same time that everybody was saying, oh, you can't do that. And guess what? I think that is a major driving force for their success, outside of the fact that they're also having fun and really good at making beats and stuff like that, right? Like they're really good at the whole thing, like the whole touring thing. A lot of people in hip hop don't tour nearly as hard as people in hardcore do. And so coming out of hardcore into that genre, it's a huge thing. It's a huge thing. They're selling out these giant stadiums. Yeah, but they're also doing these great big music festival things. It's where it's at right now. And the people who go to these kinds of things are not these people who are like clutching their pearls being like, oh my God, he has dreadlocks. Oh my God. Well, that's my culture. No, it's not. It's not like that. No, it's American rebellion. And if you can't get down with some American rebellion and you're trying to get on this authoritarian PMC left bullshit, well, you're going to lose. And I'll laugh as you fall because you should lose because nobody likes you and you suck. So don't worry, though. There's an antidote for that. It's called change. Just get over it. Realize people can do whatever they want. And have fun. Now, as I close out, one of the big things that I was thinking I should probably address, considering the fact that the last sort of cultural commentary Instagram kind of video that I did was about the polyamory thing. Some people's comments on that was like, I don't know if this was just on this or just kind of the what's right stuff. All these comments kind of blend together for me, but there's this kind of like, oh, it would be fine if you're just talking about your opinion, Dave, but actually what you're doing is you're trying to say how other people should live, right? Like how arrogant of you to assume that monogamy is the right way of doing things. You don't know what's going to work for other people, like that kind of thing. And it's like, well, that's actually called ethics, my friend. Ethics is like thinking prescriptively or thinking about the conditions of possibility for prescriptive judgments being valid or at least cogent. And for me, it always kind of comes back to there's a little bit of pragmatism here. There's a little bit of political, I think, pragmatism here. And it basically goes like this. It goes, you shouldn't try to, if you really want to have large-scale structural change, then your position shouldn't be something that's too hard to sell, right? Like veganism falls into this. Polyamory falls into this for time energy reasons, right? Now, I also think that there's reasons beyond those where there's actually something going for eating meat and there's actually something going for monogamy, and that 99.99999% of humans in all civilizations being generally opposed to this idea of sharing partners, or at least men sharing partners. I think there's probably something there, right? Like there's probably something there beyond this purely pragmatic, and also like, hello, people don't have the time energy to play this game. Yeah, that's kind of how I think about these things. That's kind of how I approach this stuff. And so, yeah, I don't have a problem making ethical statements, prescriptions, and the one that I like to, the kind that I like to make the most are the ones where it's like, no, the left loses when it takes up these niche lifestyle positions and then argues that they're right. And even if they are right, it's probably wrong to advocate for them or to prioritize them or to discourage or go against the opposite, even if they were right, but they're not, right? Like that's my general approach. I'm just rambling at this point. I just wanted to talk to you guys. I wanted to talk about something that's on my mind. I wanted to be a crotchety old man over here and come out and share some crank theory with you all.
Crank theory. Noun. A philosophical stance, typically adopted by an older individual, characterized by blunt dismissal of ideas or practices deemed foolish, supported by incisive arguments rooted in critical theory. Example. The professor's crank theory was evident when he dismissed polyamory as cultural PMC left virtue-hoarding nonsense for the Timenergy privileged, dissecting its flaws with a sharp critique grounded in the history of ideas and a heavy dose of French post-structural theory.
And it basically just is this. You don't have to have dreadlocks and you don't have to not have them. But if you have the position that I've been critiquing here, then just go to the other side of the internet where people care about your opinion, and leave us alone. Leave us alone where we get to do what we want. And I think doing what we want in this case is being like these guys, the fortress dwellers. Let's listen to them again. Based. Let's listen to the flute one more time. Did I call that a flute? I think it might be a recorder. I think that might be the proper name for that. But who knows? Who knows? I don't know. All right, everybody. Thanks. Like, comment, subscribe. Sign up to TU if you want to get access to all kinds of cool shit. We changed the tier system. I don't think the website's even updated yet, but I wanted to make sure that people do not feel like if they can't afford more than $50, they can't do most of the things that the gold and the platinum people can do. And so what I decided to do is make it so that I'm going to stop doing special things for gold and platinum people. And I'm basically just going to be like, look, TU, it's a community that I'm now cultivating proactively around certain kinds of ideas, around certain kinds of concepts, around certain kinds of practices, like reading certain kinds of texts and having great conversations about them, but more importantly, doing stuff with that. So I want to move into sort of like if you have trouble public speaking or speaking on the fly, or if you want to kind of brainstorm ideas about this kind of stuff, well, there'll be a sort of Toastmasters for theory kind of space where you can actually, learn how to give lectures, learn how to do some kind of public speaking, maybe even learn how to do some of your own streaming. If you want to learn how to stream or use OBS to do recordings like I'm doing right here, if you want to learn how to do all of this, well, I'll be teaching you how to do that. I've taught a bunch of people how to do that. I love teaching that kind of thing. And yeah, or you could just come to my office hours and shoot the shit. Ask me about whatever. One of the things that I just did in office hours recently was hear a person's whole theory of everything. And he was like, look, I'm tired of asking ChatGPT questions. I want to ask you to critique it, and I was like, look, man, I could pick it apart. I could tell you, you have to go read this, that, and the other thing. But at the end of the day, I think that, you're thinking and you're asking a lot of the right questions, and you've got a lot of great ideas. And they're ideas that there are books about that you could go deeper into. But also, if you want to write about this, you could just start writing right now. I'm not going to tell you have to develop a bibliography and then do an annotated bibliography followed, by all of this other stuff for your thesis. No, just this is the underground, man. We can do whatever the fuck we want out here. You can do it with dreadlocks. I don't give a shit. But let's have fun. And tell the people who want to try to gatekeep that to fuck off. And yeah, if that sounds good to you, sign up. Peace.
Subscribers get access to all past courses at Theory Underground, as well as ongoing courses taught by David McKerracher, Benjamin Studebaker, and Nina Power. Subscribers also get access to monthly research seminars, and the higher tiers of involvement unlock discussions and one-on-one small group tutelage. So if you're like me and you're never a huge bookish kind of person, but somewhere along the way you got really into listening to educational materials, if you got really into listening to podcasts and then books at work, if you love going deep into ideas, but you're just not a traditional bookish kind of person, well, this is where the alliance between people like us and people who are more bookish and specialized are able to meet, to work through these things, and do so in defense of the human, in defense of our dignity, in defense of our common humanity and our intellectual integrity. This is not a place where we're going to kick you out because you're pro-life or pro-choice, or where you are an atheist or a agnostic or a Christian. But it is a place where you're expected to love one another regardless of such things, and to show up for people in your actual IRL real life communities regardless of such things. And if that is exciting for you, and if you're excited to learn about what this approach, this method, this school of thought has to offer, then I'm excited to meet you. Subscribe today.